This is a Fairmount about Fairmount, the new Visions Civic League podcast. Hear from guests that matter to you. Real people, real talk, real facts.
Hello, neighbors, and welcome back. I'm excited to be able to have more conversations. It's been a bit, and we're jumping in with someone I just met, Marvin Hicks. He is with the Richmond Public Library, and he's the Community Memory Fellow. So, Marvin, I got a question for you.
Okay.
What should the community know today?
Well, the community should know more about the Richmond Public Library's resources dealing with history and genealogy, and especially our memory lab. So I'll start first with our memory lab. Our memory lab, it's a bit old. It started during COVID, but it was more of a passive offering. But now we have reopened in our special collections room in the lower level of the main library, and we offer resources for the public to digitize any records that they may have. So if you have photos, if you have diaries, journals, if you have slides, any type of cassette tapes, any type of records, audio files, any type of reel-to-reel audio. We have a vast array of technologies for the public to digitize anything that they may want. And these services are for free. Anybody can use the Memory Lab. You don't have to have a Richmond Public Library card. All we do ask is that you make an appointment. We suggest appointments, though we do accept walk-ins as well. Now, our appointments are in 4 hours time slots, but those are adjustable. So if it's a fairly light day and you have a whole lot that you need to do, you are more than welcome to stay for as long as you need to. It's a DIY model, but we are there to help you the whole time. So if you're used to using different technologies and you're fairly quick, then we'll just give you a rundown of how things work. We'll sit down with you until you get it, and then we'll be on our way, but we'll still be in the room. But if you need more time and you need more help, we'll sit down with you the whole time if need be.
Yeah. You know, history has always been an important component of our community. There's a lot of history in our community. And even in New Visions, we've got members who have been a part of New Visions since it started in 94, but have lived in the community since, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. And so there may be some people that when you said cassette, they're like, what is a cassette? But there are other people that are like, oh, but do you also do 8-track? And, oh, good, you said record. Like they might have a box in their attic.
Exactly.
But they might not know what you mean about digitize. So what does that mean, and why is that important?
All right. So digitizing is the process of taking an analog format and creating it into a digital file. So let's say you have a picture, right? So you have the physical picture, and it's always good to have physical things because physical things, though they can be fickle, they do last for a long time, right? But digitizing them will ensure that you can have them in multiple formats for a greater amount of time, right? So you can have the physical picture in your house, and then you have a digital copy online, either on a flash drive or in a cloud system. So if anything ever happens to your physical copy, you always have a backup.
Yeah. I know I've got a box of VHS tapes from when I was a kid that I keep thinking, oh man, I need to find some way to save these because they're starting to degrade. They're getting a little greener in the picture. And so time is not on my side. And so when I found out about the Memory Lab, I got excited. And now I just need to make an appointment, get in there. And like you said, those time slots are longer because it's in real time.
Yes, it's
that
in
we're
real time.
doing it.
So if you have a VHS, you have to sit there and watch it the whole time. So
which isn't a bad thing if it's a good VHS.
It's not a bad thing if it's a good tape, right? A lot of times we have patrons come in and they're digitizing their children's birthday parties. And they'll see their children turn 8 to 12 and they're like, okay, that's enough for today. It's like, I didn't realize there was so much screaming in children's birthday parties. And when you're in the party itself, you kind of tune it out. But when you're watching the tape, it becomes evident.
It's a whole different thing. So there is a personal benefit that somebody could find, but there's another benefit that the Memory Lab offers in terms of for the whole community. And so what does that look like?
So we offer, multiple things. So firstly, We want the Memory Lab to be a community space. So we would love for different organizations and different community groups like your own to come together and to use our space for like community scanning days, for conversations about how the city has changed, how your neighborhood has changed, how your organizations have changed. In that effort, we are in contact with a few local churches who are scanning all of their minutes from
Mhm.
1800s to the present, right? We have different organizations that come in, like the Ely Project, who utilize some of our different technologies. A big thing, another big thing that we have are our personal archiving kits, and
Mm.
those include a camera, a digital recorder, a lavalier microphone, as well as a portable scanner for people to do projects on the go. So
Mhm.
if you have an elder or a community member that you would like to interview and to have their oral histories, their stories, that we have the technologies for you to do those things.
Wow.
And on our computers in the Memory Lab, we have Adobe Creative Cloud. So we have the technologies, the softwares for you to edit those things as
Mm.
well. So
Mhm.
we want this to be a real community space, right?
Yeah.
And a good thing that comes out of this community collaboration is that we can get a better picture of Richmond from
Mm.
Richmonders themselves, right?
Mm.
A lot of our city stories are often told by, the things about the Revolution, things about the Confederacy, but things about the city fathers and the big people of the city's history, right?
Mhm.
But we don't get a lot of the history of Richmond from Richmonders. So from
Yeah.
their specific neighborhoods, the specific spots that people join at and commune at, right? The people in those neighborhoods, in those communities know of them. But we would like for that story to be told and known by anyone who may wish to know it, right?
Mhm.
So in that effort, we also have our new digital archive, and that digital archive is ever growing. It contains, right now we have 7 collections.
Mm.
We have the Richmond Public Library's history, we have city engineering files, we have our monuments collection, which talks about the removal of the monuments, the
Yeah.
Confederate monuments on Monument Avenue from the city side. So it has a lot of emails, a lot of photos and documents from the city side. And in the fall, we're going to be opening that up for the public so
Mm.
different people can share their own personal stories about the protests of 2020 and the removal of the monuments and what that means to them. We have the Richmond Public Schools files, which talks
Mhm.
about different schools, mainly Bedford at the moment. We have different class photos from the 1960s when integration happened, so you can see the
Mhm.
different changes throughout the years. And then we also have the city's Parks and Recs files, which are made up of 40 boxes that were found at Joseph Bryan
Wow.
Park, and it has pictures from, I believe, the beginning of the Parks Department to present. It also has different documents and things dealing with parks. And our most important collection, it's our most important collection, is our community contributions. So people who
Mm.
come to the Memory Lab, if they have photos or stories or narratives, anything that deals with Richmond history specifically, they have the option to donate a digital copy to the digital collection. So that will
Mm.
grow our narratives of Richmond from Richmonders, putting
Yeah.
the power into the people, and the people can share their own histories. So
Man, that's really great. And the great thing about all this, because you've talked about stuff that benefits individuals, stuff that benefits the community, stuff that benefits Richmond. What's amazing is all this is free,
yes,
and
yes,
all
it's
of it
all
is
free.
is accessible whether you feel comfortable with the word digitize or not.
Yes.
And so, what would you encourage the community to do? How can they step into this?
I would encourage the community to utilize our services and utilize the Richmond Public Library in general, not only for our memory lab and digitization, but for our early literacy programs, for our adult literacy programs, for our law library. My colleague, what is it, Charlie, he does so much for the community
Mm.
dealing with law. He has different workshops, different opportunities for people, and that goes for the whole system, right? We have a
Mm.
lot of free resources for the community to use for the benefit of the community, and I implore us all to use those
That's
resources.
great.
So that's my personal spiel. As the community memory fellow, I want everyone to document their family's histories, document the stories of your neighbors, of your families, of your friends. There's always a person that that people know who knows a lot of stories, right?
Yeah.
To document those stories, to save those stories for the future, because we never know what's going to happen, right? So having backups, having multiple copies of things that we deem important personally and for the public, and to share those stories and narratives with your families and your friends.
Yeah. Well, Marvin, I want to thank you for the work you and the folks at the library are doing. And yeah, thank you for sharing about this amazing resource for the community today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you as well for just helping us to be neighbors helping neighbors.
I love that. That's the best thing that we can do.
Yeah.